Welcome to the Glitter Boom Girls podcast. I'm Robbie-Ann McPherson on the East Coast.
And I'm Amy Asbury on the West Coast.
So today's topic, you guys, is summer vacation. Yay!
Hey!
Who doesn't love summer vacation? And we want to really get into the visceral feeling. Remember the last day of school? And how, right, in June, and you just felt like you had the whole world by the butt. Like, it was the best feeling. So, Aim, I'm going to ask you a question. Then tell us a story, okay? So, It is the final day of school. Let's say it's 6th grade Amy, okay? So, Amy, it's your final day of 6th grade. Now, this isn't just exams or whatever. This is the last day where you have to bring all your stuff home, clean out your desk, everything else. Very last day. It's like 1 minute to the bell. What's in your mind?
Well, you picked a strange year for me because 6th grade was the grade before I had to go to middle school. So I felt a very strange, happy yet panicked feeling. Like, wait, I don't want to leave this school. So that year I was absolutely melancholy. So I'm going to pick myself in like 3rd grade or 4th grade.
All right, let's do it.
Your girl cleaned out her desk, saw some pencil shavings and was like, whatever. Left like good riddance to this desk, this non-cold air having room that I'm sitting in. Good riddance to this entire classroom. I wanted to get one of those red rubber balls and just kick it as hard as I could, like just over the fence.
Like the dodgeball?
I wanted to kick a dodgeball just really far. I wanted to tip over like 50 things.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to play like Alice Cooper's School's Out for Summer and like throw papers in the air like Rydell High on Grease. Like I really wanted it to be like whatever movie that is, or whatever several movies where you're running out the front doors and there's like papers flying through the air and there's like toilet paper on the trees. And I wanted it to look like that, but it didn't because my mom was sitting in our brown Mercury Zephyr. It didn't quite add up.
She was waiting to pick you up?
Your mom's waiting to pick you up and you're like, you want to just blow the school up.
Right.
It's like, get me out of here.
Wait, okay, so did the Zephyr have AC or no?
The Zephyr probably had some faulty AC, and you'd get in the car and you just kind of fall into the seat like boom, you like just dive in and you just like your face is just on the vinyl and the car just goes and you're like, get me out. I'm gonna go home and just like throw something, and it's just the best. The first thing you want to do is just jump into a cold swimming pool out here in California, at least, and just burn everything that had to do with the school year.
I love it. And so you get in the door, mom gets home, you get in the door. Now what? Do you watch TV? Do you bolt to a nearby neighbor's pool, or did you guys have a pool? Like, what happened when you got home?
When I got home, I immediately threw everything. I dumped everything in the garbage that had anything to do in anything that was like not important. I took out my special Hello Kitty erasers out of my backpack and just like displayed them somewhere. Didn't have to bring them anymore. Poured myself a bowl of some kind of bear shit cereal, like buckwheats or something, because that's all we had. Plopped in front of that television, you guys. Turned on, when I got it from school, it was usually like Different Strokes or whatever. I used to tell you. Watch TV for like 50 hours and then tried to sleep in the next day.
Yeah. And don't you relish, like, I've been out of school now for decades, okay? Like college and all that.
Yeah.
I still will come home from work and be so happy that I don't have homework to do.
Isn't it weird? It affects you so much. And then the Sunday blues. I don't, I'm like, why am I scared to go to 4th grade tomorrow? I'm not in 4th grade.
Right.
And still happens and still scared.
Yeah. And I of course would if it was the weekend, I would leave my homework until, 8 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock at night or 7 a.m. the next morning. Like I was a champion homework procrastinator, which demonstrated itself in my grades as I got into harder honors classes and stuff, and I couldn't skate. Mm-hmm. But I remember, like, I'm gonna pick the last day of 5th grade. Okay. So 5th grade, I was in Mrs. Archibald's homeroom.
And such a name.
Oh yeah, Mrs. Archibald. She was, of course, back then, how kids, you make fun of people or whatever, and I think people were.
Then, they still do.
Right.
Go on.
I mean, I look back now, and she was a pretty neat teacher, wherever she is now. But she used to make us, before we could leave for the day, she would hammer into our heads, because she was basically a math teacher, the multiplication tables and doing math problems. So we would, the bell would ring, and we would all, that rustle, and everyone jumps up, and they're like ready to go.
Scoot back. The chairs are like,
yeah, it was like, and then all the shuffle of books and everything, and we would all be like ready to pounce. And she would stand in the doorway, and she would put her hands behind her back. And she was kind of an older lady, I believe she had a husband, but she was sort of a spinster type, with the gray hair, and, and she always wore like kind of prairie type spinstery clothes. And she would go, 2 times 2 plus 8 plus 4 times 9. And if someone shouted out the right answer, she would let everybody out. But no one could leave the classroom until you got it right.
Archibald, come on,
Mrs.
lady.
Archibald. And she would rock back and forth on her heels, with her hands behind her back, and she'd be like, 2 times 2 plus 4, and we would all be like, 2 times 2 is 4 plus 4 plus 8. And then somebody would be like, 15. And she'd go, nope. And then,
stop.
Yeah. And then, whatever the right answer was. Finally, there was always like 2 kids in the class that were super good at numbers. Ironically, I was one of them.
Yes.
Me, the worst math student in the history of the world. But it was probably because I couldn't wait to get out of there. And I'd be like, 2 times 2 plus 4 plus blah, 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 blah. I'd be like 17. And she'd go, well, okay. And eventually she would hold her hand up and not let me answer.
Well, get out of here.
Right.
She's
to give
like,
somebody else a chance.
This girl's giving everyone a free pass.
Right. So anyway, final day of school. It's the height of like Shaun Cassidy and everything. And I just can't wait to get home, because at this time, when I was in 5th grade, we lived in the woods on this big quarry, right? So talk about jumping in a pool. Yeah, and it was a beautiful day, and she's all 7 plus 2 times 9, and I'm like, 84, and then she's like, okay. So we all bolted out the door, everyone's screaming. Yeah, it was like you described, like this chaotic scene. Everybody's getting on their buses and everything, and there's like big there's like 10 buses all lined up, right? And everybody's getting on the buses.
All the exhaust is like going right in the kid's face, all this black exhaust.
Oh, totally. Yeah, to this day, that smell, I'm like, oh, school. And in 16 Candles, when they show the school bus and you can hear it around the corner with the kids like, like that was totally our bus. Hey, like, right. Everyone's just like, screaming, except back then what we would do is we'd go, buddy or a boy, make a big noise, playing in the street, gonna be a big man someday, you got mud on your face. We would do that on the bus seats.
Yeah.
So that was like coming around the corner, everybody's yelling. And there's like papers flying out the window,
Toilet paper hanging off the back.
Right, exactly. Like some kids, pencils coming out the window. And I don't know why, but I always had a 56-pound backpack, like every year of my life.
Still.
Right?
Still
All through
every
school.
kid.
Yeah. So I would get off with my backpack full of all of my stuff. I saved it all. Like my math folder, my English folder, my, all of it. Saved all of it. Like I still now and then come across a box full of some ancient ruins of my, public school career. So I would, I had a long walk down the driveway. And it's summer though, right? So it's a beautiful day. I would walk down through the woods. We had like a gravelly kind of pathway to our house, and I would be singing to myself, like whatever song was really big. And to me, all I thought about was like in my mind, all I saw was freedom. Like,
yeah.
Freedom from the classroom, which I was one of those kids that had such a hard time, like being trapped in the classroom and like it made me crazy. And then freedom from the stress and anxiety, for a little 9-10-year-old kid, just constantly feeling stress that I couldn't do my homework right, and with my ADHD or whatever I had, it was such a hard thing for me. So the first day of summer vacation for me really meant total freedom. And I will always remember, I can close my eyes, I can feel it right now. Like we didn't have AC, but our house was like stone and wood, kind of like a cabin or something. And so nice. It was cooler in the house than it was outside. And it was dark in there. So you would go in, and
love that.
Right, and it was like cool, and you could feel the cool on your skin. I'd throw the bag down. I would head straight for the snack cupboard, and get
whoa, snack cupboard.
Oh, snack cupboard, man, Fritos.
What was in there?
Well, in the fridge, it was I don't know why, but I used to eat these little chipped beef packets. I can't explain it. I don't know.
East Coast thing. Your mother bought good things, though.
Oh, yeah, she did, because I wouldn't eat otherwise. So we had the Fritos, we had potato chips, we had pop, soda, as some of you folks call it. We had cereal, sugar cereal. So whatever I wanted, I would load up some bag and a glass of Pepsi or whatever it was, and I would flop in front of that TV. And that was always my first task. I wanted to relish that I could be lazy without consequence.
Lovely.
Right? And I would just sit there and watch TV for like 4 hours, and it was just like you said, it was like, Laverne and Shirley and Love Boat.
Whatever was on.
Whatever was on in the afternoon, I was fine. And then I would start plotting, because we usually ended school, I feel like we usually did it on a Wednesday or something, so it was always the middle of the week. I would start plotting my social calendar. I'd be called the next morning. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to call my friend Karen, shout out Karen. And I'd ask her, hey, do you want to come over this weekend, plan out slumber parties? And then I'd talk to my mom, can you drop me off at the mall on Sunday? Cause I want to go see this movie and I want to do that. I was all about like filling up my social calendar for the entire summer, and whatever spaces I had in the nice weather, I was outside. I had my Star Wars dolls. I was building, planets and communities and stuff. I was swimming in the water. I was, I was so shot out of a cannon
right?
In my summer vacation. Yeah. And that particular summer, that 5th grade summer, I had this yellow t-shirt that was a Cheerios. It was a Honey Nut Cheerios t-shirt. And I had these red little shorts, like the 70s shorts with the white piping.
Of course.
And I wore that t-shirt and those shorts every day, pretty much, for the entire summer. Like my mother would have to chase me around the house to get it off of me at night so that she could wash it. Because I don't know what it was. That was the summer of the Honey Nut Cheerios yellow t-shirt for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had a shirt that I loved. I think I was 10. My mother would not buy those dolphin shorts, but we had the knockoffs Dove shorts. And I didn't know there was dolphin. I'm all Dove, whatever, So anyway, listen, you guys. So the Dove silky shiny running shorts for a 10-year-old back then were purple. I had 2 pair. There was a purple and white stripe.
What type of purple are we talking?
Dark purple, and then a pink and white stripe, like a Barbie pink. And I had these 2 tank tops. I don't know what you all would call them, but little spaghetti strap kind of tops with a lacy strap, which is a little, now that I'm like, ooh, a little inappropriate, but I was like 10, with the most shiny, glittery, giant iron-ons on the front.
And what was your
was a butterfly?
Of course.
Of many colors, everybody. Many colors, like a rainbow with a little bit of pink and purple in it. The other was, get ready, heart balloons and a rainbow.
Oh my gosh.
And you could,
so 80s.
The heart balloons and the rainbow was on a turquoise tank top. And the butterfly was on a lavender tank top. So anyway, I would swip? Is that a word? I would swap the outfits, and every day I would wear one of those pairs of silky shorts and one of those tank tops, and I would go outside, and it was always about my bike. I had the Huffy Sweet Thunder. I'll say it again, the Huffy Sweet Thunder. And it had like dirt bike wheels, but it was pink. It had a pink seat, and it was not a banana seat. It was like a thick seat, like a dirt bike seat. I was like, I'm going to ride this bike to freaking Panama. I was like so into it. I'm like, I'm going to go to, buy candy. I plotted out every carnival I was going to run, every play I was going to write. I always did a lot of productions. So I had my little calendar also. But my thing was I had to get people to carry out all of the production for all of this stuff. That was my problem about the summer.
Oh, okay.
So I would plan an entire musical or something. I'm like, who's gonna act in this thing? Because I'm the director, Or I'd write this whole play. Okay, who's gonna be the actors? Again, I gotta direct this play. What kids on the street? What scruffy kids on my street in the valley are gonna play these parts?
Right. You needed a casting crew.
How am I gonna pay these people? So that was my issue in the summer. But really, it would all go better if we just went to somebody's swimming pool or the one and only public pool, which was full of pink eye, just really clear water, a lot of chlorine, but kind of scary because the deep end was so big.
Yeah, it was 10 feet, right? The public pool.
Yeah, and it's as big as a building, so you're like, am I going to drown in this damn thing? Anyway, so yeah, public pool, making up games, just basically the absence of school to come in and mess up your schedule. You created your own schedule in the summer.
Right.
And you felt creative and you felt like I get to do what I want to do. Not, as a kid, the government says you need to be educated. Your parents want you to be educated. You got to do all this stuff. But in the summer, you're like, I want to go outside in my Honey Nut Cheerios shirt and build a land for the Star Wars guys.
Right.
That's what I would do. And that's what I will do.
Yeah. Yeah, I should have gone into urban planning because the elaborate, there was a lot of moss and rocks and in the woods. Wow. And so I would take these little, little figurines, the little action figures, and it was to scale, of course, but I would create this whole friggin' planet. It was like Alderaan, just from Star Wars, created in my backyard. And I would construct things, I had little lean-tos with the sticks, and the story was always Luke and C-3PO and R2-D2 had to, they had to go from here to there, and they were like camping, and there was sort of a some kind of journey they were always on. And then occasionally I would go and get materials, construction materials, like pieces of wood and cardboard, and then that would be like the command centers, the offices, stuff like that. And also because R2D2, the little figure didn't have wheels, but you could like push it and stuff like that. So I would build these crazy things. And I have to say, Aim, while you were talking, I Googled the Huffy Sweet Thunder. Okay.
Isn't it sweet?
That is a freaking bicycle. Like if I had seen that when I was, 9, 10, I had a purple, not Huffy. I don't know what it was. It was like the glitter dark purple. Okay.
Ooh.
And it had a silver banana seat, but it was like a disco silver glitter banana seat. And then I had the basket on the front, the white plastic basket with the plastic flowers. Although I pulled the flowers off.
Proud of you.
I was a non-flower person.
Proud of you.
Right. And then I had the little flap, or what do you call those little stringy things hanging off the handles? Like a fringe?
Those are 70s little streamers. Everybody knows what they are.
Yeah, and I braided mine.
Okay.
Braided.
That shows a lot of individuality.
Right?
I'm very proud of you.
I had a custom bicycle. Like, I customized my bicycle. Now, the thing I never got, which I think maybe affected my self-esteem to this day, and I might have to go to therapy about, is I never got one of those little flagpole things that you stuck on the back of the seat that had like a flag or something on it. And I wanted one so bad.
You really wanted one of those?
I
had that bike, and it had these grip handlebars, like the rubber grip like that you would see on a boy's bike.
Right, me too.
And the front was real flat. It wasn't like the real dipped low bars. It was like it had a little card on the front that said Sweet Thunder. It looked like a real dirt bike. And it gave me such an identity. I thought, wow, it's pink, but it's badass.
Yeah, that is a badass bike.
Yeah, and the tires were very rugged and had very, whatever those little indentions are, was very, very, like, you could go over rocks. And my sister was like, on this little banana bike with the flowers, and she's kind of like, and I just thought, I really just want to take her bike and throw it off a cliff and then stomp on it afterward. It made me think of like helpless females. And I'm not some crazy feminist, but I was like, I really like my pink badass bike.
Yeah,
really
that
suits me.
That's a badass bike. I mean, mine, the coloring and stuff was disco, which, that I was all about that. And I got that bike in the summer, I got that bike for Christmas when I was like 8. And my dad did the whole thing where he hid it outside, and on Christmas Eve, his parents used to come over on Christmas Eve. So we're all like sitting there, and all of a sudden, Dad's like, "Who's that at the door?" And he goes to the door, and then he goes, "I don't know what's going on." And I'm just sitting there like, "Huh? Somebody's at the door?" And then he goes outside, and then he comes in and he wheels this bike in, this freaking disco bike. And it was like the cartoons where your eyes go, whoa, whoa, I couldn't believe it. I started screaming. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But of course I couldn't ride it for like 5 months because
5 months.
It was winter. Yeah.
Oh, see, I don't know what that's like. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you had snow on the ground.
Wow. Mm-hmm. But I got the bike for Christmas. So, okay, I have a question too. So let's talk about, now we'll get back to the whole freedom aspect, but did you have chores? Like, did you have chores that occurred in the summer because you quote unquote had nothing else to do? So tell me about your chores.
Well, I had a sister, so we had to swap out every Saturday. One of us had to vacuum and one of us had to dust. Oh. And the person that dusted used the can of Pledge with the yellow top. Mm-hmm. And when that person was me, I wasted the whole can by spraying it on the table and then writing my name over and over in the spray. And then I was like, ooh, what if I put this can really close to the table and it would just build up this high tower of pledge? You know, it's supposed to be a nice fine mist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you use it on the cloth for like 5 pieces of furniture. Oh, no, my friend. I would use that whole can on the coffee table. My mom was like, where's all the pledge? I was playing in the pledge. I was the worst duster, you guys.
And what was the cloth? Are we talking an old T-shirt or an actual cloth or a towel? Or
old T-shirt, old dish towel, you know. Mm-hmm. And that person kind of had it easy. The other person had to vacuum like everything.
Yeah.
You know. So that was it.
Vacuuming's physical. What did you have, an upright or a canister with a...
We had an upright that was often used as a microphone when we played, you know, band.
Right.
Because you could like kind of like, it was right up to our mouth. It's perfect.
And did you play games with the, you know, like you put your mouth on the vacuum and go wow on the thing and make all these sound effects?
I couldn't. Mine was like the upright one. It's just rolling on the ground. There was nothing I could do with it really, but I did try to make like perfect stripes in the carpet or just kind of make some kind of game. Like, I don't know, you guys. It was boring, guys.
Well,
yeah.
I just mostly helped my mom clean the house.
So what did you have to do?
We had these hardwood floors. The whole house had these hardwood floors, and Mom would send me around with a cut-up old T-shirt and this, what was it called? Was it called Life-a-Wood? It was a blue... Wait, I got to look this up. Life-a-Wood. Make sure I'm talking about the right thing. Oh, my God. That's it. Oh, my God. I'm having a flashback. Okay, so Life-a-Wood, it looks like milk. And it comes in this... It used to come in this glass bottle with like this kind of ocean greeny blue label with black lettering on it, and it was like script, you know, like Life-a-Wood, you know.
Wait, so what is it called? Like, say it's the Life-a-Wood?
Yeah, like Life of Wood, but it's Life-o-Wood.
Life-o-Wood.
Yeah, and you can still get it, and it is still the exact same package.
What did it smell like?
It wasn't a pungent smell. It was it had a very unique smell. It wasn't like fragrancy or anything. If you can just imagine what a wood, like a wood dusting milk would smell like, it kind of smelled like that. Like it smelled like Pledge, but without the lemon, if that makes sense.
Kind of, yeah.
Right.
Oh, and here it is. Wow, it looks very vintage, you guys.
Right. And my job was on my hands and knees. I would put the Life-a-Wood on the rag, and then I would have to go and wipe all the corners and get all the like dust tumbleweeds and dust bunnies out of the corners. And
wow.
And then occasionally I would have to actually do the whole floor. And I was like you. In my mind, the more product, the better.
Yeah, of course.
So I would kind of dump the bottle of Life-a-Wood out, and then I would just take the thing and like, you know, and I liked how shiny the floor would get. It didn't really last though. It wasn't like a wax. Yeah. So I did that, and it was always my chore to empty the dishwasher.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, so I did that.
But we didn't get a dishwasher until kind of later. Did you guys always have one? I thought they were kind of a new thing.
Yeah, we got one the Christmas of 77. My dad did the same thing. He did the whole, somebody's knocking at the door. And he brought in this, it was a portable dishwasher. Because it wasn't our house, you know, the house in the woods. And that's a long story.
It hooked up to the sink.
Yeah,
you know, you had to turn the sink on. There's like this big old tube.
Right. It's like big.
It's all loud.
Right, like a big hose thing. Yeah, and it was like, it was like a, you know, like a wind machine or maybe an airplane motor. It was super loud.
That's crazy.
And it took like 4 hours, you know.
I know.
Had like
in your head, you're like
cycles.
Wow, we really could have just done this by hand in like 20 minutes, but you were like, perish the thought.
Oh,
perish that thought.
No. And back then too, you really had to clean the dishes before you cleaned the dishes. Nowadays dishwashers, you can, leave stuff on them, but
not mine.
Yeah, it was. So I did that. I don't remember ever doing like outside chores because my dad mowed the lawn and we didn't have gardens or anything like that. It was just like the lawn and then the woods. And I didn't really have to do that. I had to change the cat box, but that was year round. Yeah, so I think the only big thing I think was that everything just increased. Like instead of helping mom do the floor like once a month, I helped her do it once a week in the summer.
Oh,
and instead of going grocery shopping with her once in a while during school, I had to go every week. Every Friday morning, she and I would go up to Bell's, and my payment, I never got an allowance, but my payment was a bag of the chipped beef and a People magazine. So we would get home in the summer and all the windows are open and everything. And it's just beautiful, that great summer smell. And I would sit there, right, with the TV on, eating my chipped beef stuff and drinking a Pepsi.
Wow. That chipped beef, and somebody's correct me, but a lot of my friends' dads who were in the Vietnam War, well, just one of my friends' dads who was in the Vietnam War, chipped beef with some kind of sauce. They called it SOS, shit on a shingle. Sorry, guys. But anyway, they ate it on a piece of toast in the Vietnam War. So maybe you were kind of like those guys.
Yeah, maybe that was it because, my dad is a Vietnam vet, right? And so maybe that's how the chipped beef first found its way into our house. But it was more like a deli meat. I don't remember it being creamed. It was more like it came in these sealed, hermetically sealed packages. I'm trying to find one, like a vintage package.
Well, the one that the Vietnam vet dad of my friend ate was creamed chipped beef.
Yeah, that was not what I was eating.
That was SOS.
But
very, very, it's called SOS. He called it SOS. And he had a taste for it. But I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What did you all do? Did you go on a trip ever in the summer? Or was there a particular summer that just was the magic summer of your life?
Well, the first answer, pretty much no. We never took family vacations. There was the one weekend when I was real little that we drove to see some friends in Vermont, but and you guys can hear about that in the Forgotten Foods episode. That's quite a story.
Remind me, what did you do in that?
That was when I ate a bunch of donuts and drank 5 glasses of Strawberry Quick and got my first migraine.
Oh, that was that? That was during that trip?
Yeah, that was that trip. But that's really the only vacation. We would visit some friends in later in the 80s. We'd visit friends Memorial Day weekend for the Indy 500. But we never went to Disney World or went to the Mount Vernon or did historical tours or anything like that. We just weren't that family, so we didn't really take vacations together. But there was I would say the summer of 76 and 77 and the beginning of 78, the summer of 78, those were probably the best summers I ever had in my whole life. We lived at that place in the woods, and it was so much fun for a kid to grow up like that. I'm so grateful for that. Like the water, swimming in the quarry, and the playing in the trees and the woods. And that was really, really cool. And, and our family was still intact. My whole life hadn't imploded.
That's exactly, I think that too. My family was still together. Even if a bad day was actually a good day, we just didn't know it,
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and like to this day when I hear Steve Miller, any song by Steve Miller, like from the Book of Dreams album, I think about the summer of '76. I see my dad in the cutoff jeans, outside with like
Did he have a beer in his hand?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was just gonna say he had a cooler of beer right next to the grill, and he was grilling something, right? And there were like 15 odd people, that my parents knew. Like it seemed like back in the day, parents had a lot of friends. Like nowadays, no one has a lot of friends.
They had a lot of friends, and they always drank beer in cutoff shorts, and I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
Those.
Yeah. Like where did they buy the cutoff shorts, or did they cut the pants off?
Wife cut the pants off, like holes got in the knees. I don't know, but they became the cutoff shorts.
Right.
And people always took off their shirts back then. You guys, wasn't there like a lot of random neighbors with like no shirt on? Who like had no business not wearing a shirt?
Oh yeah, well the dads, yeah, totally, yeah. Like I never saw ladies without the shirt, but
no, I mean the dads always had their shirt off, and it was like no big deal. Just
right.
Like, you're like, what are you doing?
Like mowing the lawn with no shirt. Yeah. And there were a lot of parties at that house, which were really fun, and for the kids, like the grown-ups would be, like you'd go inside to go to the bathroom or something. And you'd see like 3 of the wives like standing there talking about somebody outside and
with like a tube top on.
Yeah, exactly. And they're all just like, well, you know what I told her? I said that and you know what? And then she told me. And then I said, I can't do that. I just, and it was all like this weird secretive tones. And then you'd go outside and you'd look at the lady that they're talking about and you'd be like, you'd feel bad, and I remember this one lady once. I actually wrote about this in my diary. My parents had some summer party, and I went inside, I don't know, to get a towel or something. And she had just walked inside, and she was sort of wandering around the house. And I, she just looks at me, and I looked at her like, can I help you? And she goes, honey, where's your phone? And I said, there's a phone in the kitchen. And she goes, is there a private phone? And I said, yeah, there's one in my parents' bedroom. And I go, it's over there. It's in that hall. She goes, I have to make a secret call to my secret boyfriend. And you can never tell, okay? And I was like, okay.
That's weird.
I still remember her name. Her name was Susan.
What was Susan wearing?
Susan was doing the earth tones look.
Of course.
Okay. So Susan had like they were kind of like these khaki shorts, khaki 70s pleated
like
shorts.
Snow.
Yeah, exactly. And then like a bodysuit, maroony kind of a top, but it was like a tank top. Yeah.
Had to be maroon.
And she looked very stylish. And then she had like a short sleeve kind of work shirt, with like the little button epaulette things, and it was like over the tank, just as a little sort of accessory. And she had the gold necklaces, and she had like kind of the Mrs. Hart, Stephanie Powers hairdo, where it was like this big swoopy flip. But it was huge. It wasn't like a flat feather. It was like a big whoosh. And she was a brunette. And I wrote in my diary, I won't say her last name, but I wrote in my diary, Susan Blank asked me where the phone was today, and she had to make a call to her secret boyfriend, and I will never tell anyone that secret.
So was her husband there at the barbecue? Is that what?
Yeah, she had, I'm sure she was joking,
I don't think so.
In
retrospect, I think it thrilled her.
But why would she tell me that?
Because she kind of wanted it to get out. Like she was over.
Oh, you think?
Gordon, whoever her husband was. I think his name is Gordon in my head.
Right. His name was definitely like Gordon, or like it wasn't something simple like Tom or Dave or Steve. Yeah, it was totally Gordon.
Name. He's probably so annoying. Actually, no, she's probably some sociopath. But anyway, I think she wanted to get caught, and she was thrilled her to tell the kid. Maybe this kid's going to tell her parents. Maybe it's going to get out.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, here I am talking about it on a podcast, which is like heard around the world, literally. Like we. By the way, Aim, sidebar. We should shout out to all of our listeners in Europe, because we have listeners in France, the UK, Germany, Turkey, Russia, Spain, Ireland.
Hi, everyone.
Right?
We want to visit you soon.
Right.
Yes.
We want to say hello. We should learn how to say hello in like a million different languages.
All right. You take that on and then teach me.
Right. Yeah, I'll take that on. So anyway, we love you guys. We're so happy that you're with us. But anywho, so Susan, like, I still remember her last name too. I know.
What
Scandala.
So scandal. There's always a lady like that when you're a kid. She always has like a freckled, tanned chest with like a little too much cleavage.
Right. That was totally her.
Your head is right in their cleavage, and you're like, this lady's boobs are, there was always something like that in the summer.
Yeah.
Some lady a little bit too underdressed for the occasion.
Right. Because she would be like the better looking, most fit one in the group or whatever. And all the other ladies.
Dad would be right by her side, everyone, always. My mom was rather mousy. She was very pretty, but she was quiet, and she was subservient, really, So my dad was always flirting with everybody and like very charming, and he looked like Tom Selleck. So he had like the mustache and the hair, and like every woman like loved my dad. It was very awkward. I didn't really get it when I was a kid, but when I got a little older, I was like, oh, this is really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And awful.
Yeah, but you don't want your dad to be like flirtatious.
No, it was horrible. And then in the summers, though, I generally just recall the radio with whatever the tunes of the day were.
Oh, yeah.
And then like the smell of a barbecue, the splashing sound of people jumping in the pool, because in California, every other person had a pool, like of your friends.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't that common for us in New York. But I'm like, no.
Have you watched Stranger Things, that Netflix show? Because those outfits, and that's all of your clothing. I feel like that's so... I picture you wearing some of those outfits.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think if you really want to capture like summer in my era, you got to watch Dazed and Confused. Because even though those kids were older, like I wasn't that age at that time, but I was looking up to those kids,
You
thinking,
saw those kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like the parties in the woods and, the clothes, like all the teenage girls, everything they were wearing, like all that stuff. That was so like summer in my childhood. Even though they shot it in Austin, but it looked a lot like there were some scenes where I just would think to myself, my God, that's like right out of my childhood. It's really
what mine
great movie.
It is Fast Times at Ridgemont High was filmed in my town, in my neighborhood, and that is who I looked up to.
Yeah.
I was maybe 10, and those were the teenagers at the Galleria. Places I actually went, the beaches I went to, the Ventura Boulevard. That was it. Everything they did, it was always about the mall, the movies, swimming, the beach, teenagers, bleachers, and also Grease. I think that was filmed around my neighborhood too. That was kind of like not Grease because it was supposed to be the 50s, but just the way it looked, real bright yellow and the blue skies. Really neat that somebody captured how we felt and what our lives look like. It's neat that it's available.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of like a living photo album or something.
It's cool. And it gives you a little pain in your heart. You're just like, ah.
Yeah, it's that nostalgia thing, right? It's like the whole reason we do this podcast, right? Is we love to wallow in that warm fuzzy, but there's a sting to it. There's like,
sting.
Yeah, it's like bittersweet, because it's not there anymore. It's gone. It feels, and that's why like I'm sure in the future we're going to cover the whole one-hit wonder songs, right? That take you back to childhood. But that's why it's such a powerful nostalgia trigger to me, the music. And if you combine them, like if it's a hot summer day and you hear a certain song and there's
and
just
smell something, like you smell vinyl or something.
Yeah, yeah, you smell that melting vinyl. Oh, how many times did crayons melt in the car?
Oh, constantly.
Right? And then you'd realize, holy cow, if I melt crayons on purpose, I can like make these cool little colorful sculptures. So then
I never went that far. What'd you make?
Oh, I was melting crayons all the time. I'm surprised I wasn't like a little pyromaniac, but it wasn't anything. I would just melt, like I would take a bunch of crayon pieces, like I'd break them up and stuff and put them on a piece of tin foil, and then I would just set them in the sun, like either on the dashboard, my mother, oh no, Robbie, because I would have like, some little science experiment going on her dashboard in the car because it was so hot in there, and it would melt the crayons and they would kind of blend together, and then you would get like this little colorful wax thing. I mean, you didn't do anything with it. It was just like, oh,
that's just cool.
Yeah,
absolutely. We had a lot of fruit trees in the summer, so I did my little experiments out there amongst lemons, oranges, nectarines, plums, peaches. It always smelled like fruit in the summer, and the grass, my father would cut the grass on the weekends. In the summer, you're there, well, you see it in the school week also, but in the summer you kind of lay on that cut grass and you just feel the sun.
Yeah.
And there's just no schedule, like I said. And it's just like, we wouldn't go on any big vacations either, to be honest with you, but we did, every weekend go to the beach, go to Zuma. We always were at the beach or having barbecues. So I don't know. It's just, there's just something about just that freedom, like you said.
Can I just point out that my cat Kilroy is meowing right now, and I just turned to him and put my finger like, shh, and I just looked at him like this.
I'm like, who's in her house?
And he stopped meowing. Like, my cats are
I'm so not surprised.
Right? I'm telling you, I communicate with these cats like on another level.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry for that sidebar. But okay, the smell of cut grass we have to dissect.
Yeah.
Like, were you ever sitting in a classroom and then outside they're mowing the lawn and you smell that fresh cut grass, and like it's like in your mind you go on this astral projection and you just float out the window? If I smelled cut grass while I was trapped, imprisoned, and sitting at a desk in school, oh my God, I would sit there like, oh, I don't want to sit here inside anymore. I want to go outside. It was painful.
Yeah, it was painful. And there was just a lot of smells of summer. I think chlorine was a big one.
Yeah.
And on the barbecues, the smell of the charcoal. Remember, everything was charcoal.
Yeah. And the smell of Coppertone, the coconut, and the pineapple smell of like the sunscreen.
Sunscreen,
right?
We had
tanning
like
oil,
and ski. Like we didn't have any sunscreen. Forget it.
Yeah,
forget it.
It was like SPF 2.
We were like, "What's SPF? Spoof? Spoof? Like nobody. Forget it.
Right.
We had Banda Soleil for that Saint-Tropez.
Banda Soleil for the Saint-Tropez.
Wow, there's the better version of my singing.
I remember Banda, but Banda Soleil was like a grown-up thing. Like
it was kind of sexualized, yeah.
Yeah, and I had the drugstore stuff that smelled like pineapples and coconut fruit.
I had Coppertone, I think.
Yeah,
and I feel like we had some sea and ski, but I don't know.
Yeah, now was the sea and ski, was that the stuff that didn't have a scent? So it was just like that funky sunscreen smell? Yeah.
It was like this white paste all over your body. And then in the 80s, we got the Zinca, which was like this brightly colored blue or green or pink. You just stick it, big stripes of it on your face. It was kind of a fashionable swatch watch type of weird thing.
You know what? That makes me think of, too, summer nights. Like summer when you were outside all day and your skin is kind of sunburned and stuff, and you still have your bathing suit on. Like you've had your bathing suit on for like 24 hours, basically.
I got all this sand in my lady parts.
Right, right. But you come home and you don't take your bathing suit off. So you're sitting there, you've got like sunscreen caked on you and you're burned anyway. And like, of course, I'm eating, potato chips and pop and snacks. And that feeling of like, all you have to do, your mom's like, will you take a shower? Because you can't put your nightgown on over all that stuff. So you would take a shower and then like sit and watch The Love Boat, with a
bunch of sand was in the shower.
Yeah, right.
Like sand, you pull down your pants to use the restroom. There's like sand all over the floor.
Right, right. Oh no, Robbie, you got sand everywhere.
There's always sand everywhere in my house, always. And there's always in the summer a lot of pieces of stuff I found on the beach, like an old shell, a piece of bark. There's always like pieces of stuff.
Yeah. Did you collect shells?
Oh, yeah. I always collected like a piece of seaweed, always just kind of not just shells, but any kind of neat looking smooth rock, because you're like out sometimes like hiking or, whatever you're doing. And you find more things because you're not sitting in the classroom. You're out like doing things. So anything you find as a kid, you have your little box of stuff.
Right, right.
There's like a weird things in there that don't make sense. Like I saved the little inner lining of the little thing you peel off the new bottle of shampoo between the lid and the bottle because it had this little neat logo. I still have it. I looked at my box of stuff and I'm like, what is all this stuff? Like some of it was like a pin from Disneyland, a smooth rock. And then there's like, like things that you thought were cool as a kid where you're like, what? Is this like a bottle cap? It's just funny.
Yeah, I kept a salamander for a while. I had a little pet salamander, and we always had a kitten, and a dog and stuff. And so in the summer there was a lot of playing outside with the pets. And going back to the summer nights, if my parents had people over and they were all sitting outside, like drinking
like
and
Susan.
stuff. Yeah, exactly. Like Susan with her secret boyfriend. And so you got to stay up late, right? Because
they weren't watching. They were like,
right. They're drinking, and stuff. So I'd be sitting outside and, it's like 10:30, 11 at night. And the fireflies are lighting up. And to this day,
fireflies?
Yeah. Do you not have fireflies out there?
They were a myth. I always thought like, are those real? People really see it. We had June bugs, which are like flying roaches, you guys, and you could hear them hitting the screen door. They're like pop, pop, pop.
Did you have a bug zapper?
No, we just had a screen door and like an old fashioned dirty fly swatter that just sits around the house.
We had. Well, wait. I'll address the fireflies first. Okay, so lightning bugs or fireflies. Oh yeah, totally real.
Wait, how cool.
They like, you could look at it in the dark. You could look at a bunch of bushes and you would just see them like over here, lights. Over there, over here, over there. Like they don't, they're like twinkle lights, but they flash on and off.
How cool.
They were the coolest things ever. And you'd go get a jar and you'd go over to the bush and you would get a bunch in the jar. And then
I thought that was like an urban legend. You actually did that.
Yeah. Oh no, we totally did that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, there were tons of lightning bugs everywhere where I grew up. And oh wait, no, I forgot. What was the other thing? What was the other thing you mentioned?
Okay, so we had the June bugs and
the bug zapper. That's right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had a bug zapper which it hangs from a tree. And it's like this electrified thing, and it's supposed to attract the bugs, and they like fly, into the electric thing to their death.
Right.
And
you
like
hear it.
Oh yeah, and it was so you'd be sitting outside and you'd hear bzz, bzz, bzz. And then
You're like, is something in operation back there? What is happening?
Right. Some big like dragonfly or some big bug all of a sudden and you'd be like, geez, what was that?
Oh, yeah.
But the worst thing all summer long, fly strips. hanging from the ceiling or from a lamp or a tree or whatever it was by the door. And you'd walk by this big yellow sticky tape thing with all these flies that suicided on the tape. Like, it is so gross. Like, I'd rather chase flies with a fly swatter than have that thing hanging there. To this day, if I go, like, if you went to a diner or something in the summer and they'd have that swinging door, right, and it would flap and slam shut, and you look up and bam, there's a fly strip. Ugh. Gross.
Okay, that's disgusting.
Yeah, totally gross.
But flies are a part of summer, and I hate that they are.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to just throw a piece of something over somewhere and let them all go to it, you know? I don't really have the solution for flies, but they ruin everything.
Right.
But they are part of summer.
Yeah.
Part of summer, along with the smells of all those smells, the uncomfortable swimsuit that's kind of riding up, or when your swimsuit you were too old for your swimsuit and you kind of outgrew it and you're still wearing it.
Yeah, I had a lot of those. Yeah, I had everything. I always had ill-fitting stuff, you know. So, so yeah, I don't even think I ever had a bathing suit that like I went and picked out, or, you know, like my mother would just come home from Kmart and toss it on the bed and be like, "Here's your bathing suit," you know. And so it wasn't ever quite. It didn't fit quite.
You didn't try it on. Yeah, you didn't try it on.
No. And okay, so unfortunately, Aim, we're out of time. But before we go, I got one more like visceral nostalgia trigger I have to mention.
Ooh, let's hear it.
And this was because it's summer, right? You don't have school. You would go to Burger King or McDonald's, and you would get that whoosh from the hot outside, and you'd step into that freezing cold air conditioning, right? And the French fry grease and all that, it would just hit you in the face, and you knew you were about to eat. Like in my case, I was about to eat my ham and cheese sub sandwich and my French fries and my Dr. Pepper. And there was so much, I mean, in my family, you know, every time Mom ran an errand, like she would drive through, or we would go into Burger King, because I wouldn't shut up unless she took, you know, Mom, can we go to Burger King? Mom, I'm really hungry. Mom, you know. So I have to mention, just honorable mention, the going into the ice cold, and wherever it was, like it might have been an ice cream place, right? Like it's super hot and you go in there and you just get hit with that cold air, you know.
Did you have a Swenson's where you were? A Swenson's ice cream parlor?
No, we had Friendlies.
Of course.
And then there was like the mom pa place, you know, mom and pop shops that you'd go into. Yeah, did you ride your bike somewhere?
There was no ice cream shop within my bike riding area, but I do remember that real cold, beautiful feeling, and you walk in, little ding ding, and then like Hall & Oates is playing on the on the thing, you know. It's just like this nice, you're like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah,
it's just lovely.
Aim, what a fun trip down memory lane. This I really enjoyed kind of getting into this episode. How about you?
I loved it. I love hearing your stories because it's so neat, because I can visually see your life, and it dawns on me. Is that the word? It dawns on me. It has dawned on me that you lived in kind of a Friday the 13th. Like I look at where you lived on this lake, and it could be scary.
Oh,
like
totally.
The house, the lake. Like, oh wait, this could be a total horror movie in the background.
100%.
Went a whole other way.
Oh yeah. Someday when we get into 70s and 80s horror movies, I will discuss what Friday the 13th did to me from having grown up there. Yeah.
Hey, after looking at the pictures of the lake and the house, I'm like, wow, that's so like, you know, canoes and summer camp and like guy chasing you, and like it could be really scary.
Right? Oh yeah. Yeah. When in the daytime, the woods was like my playground. But at night, the woods was full of the boogeyman. Like he was just everywhere outside. Yeah, I would never go outside at night. Like, and if I had to, like, if Dad was like, run out to my car and get my whatever, you know, I would look at him like, and I would turn all the lights on inside because we didn't have any outside lights, so at least there was a little bit of a glow. And I would run out there really fast and get in the car and grab it and run back in the house because the boogeyman, he was out there and he was waiting for me.
It really looks like he was.
Oh, yeah.
Looking like, okay, this is scary.
Yeah, fully.
But yeah, it's neat to hear how you grew up. And it's different, but I could picture it, and it's really neat. And I love hearing your story.
No, same with you, Aim. I can totally, see, hear, smell, everything that you're describing, and the iron-on shirts. I mean, they don't last very long, because the iron-on, you wash it and they peel off. But man, when you had a new iron-on shirt,
yes,
yeah, you were styling.
You could get iron-ons from the book fair back then. I know we have to go, but you're supposed to go there for a book, but of course they have all these pencils, but they also had iron-ons at the book fair.
You mean you'd buy the iron-on and then put it on your own shirt? You'd have your mom
your mother
do
would
it?
Get an iron and iron that bitch on your shirt. I did get one with a squirrel or some kind of animal from the book fair instead of a book.
Oh, that's cool.
And, we put it on a shirt. It's pretty awesome.
I don't think my mom ever ironed anything on for me. I did have some, but I bought them. It was
that was the better way.
Yeah, when my grandpa, all my money came from my grandpa, shoving $20 in my pocket. So I would hoard it, and then I would go to the mall on Sundays or during the week in the summertime. That was another big thing. And I would buy a record, or I would go. They had a kiosk in the mall where you could pick out the iron-on, and then they would have the big steam, the big press, and they'd press it on.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they keep on trucking, or,
keep on trucking. There's always some kind of dirt, like a monster truck or something, or BMX, Yeah. There wasn't a lot of girl ones. There was mostly guy ones, and they'd wear that, baseball shirt with, the colored sleeves.
Right. And you could get something, you could have the felt letters, those block letters, and have them say something on it. Yeah.
Mostly it was everyone around my neighborhood, it just was an Aussie iron-on or Iron Maiden on one of those shirts. Even little kids, a 5-year-old was Iron Maiden, long hair, and some kind of BMX bike,
I love it.
Anyway.
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this as much as we did. This was a fun memory lane trip, and we don't know what you're listening to us on right now, but we're on everything Apple, Google, Spotify, all that stuff, and we have a website, glitterboomgirls.com. We're on Instagram and Twitter, glitterbgirls. That's our username. So if you don't follow us on either one, please go to glitterbgirls and give us a follow on that, and DM us. We love hearing from you guys, especially today. It's all about Europe, our listeners in Europe. We're super excited. So let us know, maybe if you have a topic suggestion, or, if you have something critical to say, never mind. We can't take criticism, but if you have something great to say, oh yeah, we totally want to hear it, right, Ann?
Hey, let's be honest. Yeah, exactly.
We're too fragile. We don't want haters.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right, well, thanks you guys for listening. I'm Robbie-Ann McPherson on the East Coast.
I'm Amy Asbury on the West Coast.
And thanks for listening, you guys. Talk to you later.
Bye, everybody.